Stop! How your current schedule is making you poor. Easy 3-step blueprint to fix it. What is the key difference between successful people and unsuccessful people? Think about it. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. It's the only thing in the world that is an equal playing field. So, at the end of the day, what determines how successful we become is how we use our time. So, this is how successful people manage their time. Today, I'm going to give you 3 simple strategies that will help you manage your time. Number 1, time block for social media and emails. Does this sound like you? The first thing you do is to go and reach for your smartphone and check your messages. For example, you are checking your email, you're checking your DM, and you're checking social media. And you do this for the first hour of every morning. You're actually wasting your critical hour. How well you do in the morning dictates how well you do the rest of the day. If right there you are checking all these messages, and I know what it is like, you wake up first thing in the morning and you want to know what happened last night and if you missed anything. But from now on, I want you to pause and reflect on how precious that 1 hour is. Try to think about how you can invest it wisely. For some, maybe you do some light reading in the morning. For some, maybe you want to do a little exercise. You want to have a nice breakfast with your family. Or maybe for you, it's time to set your goals and plan out what you want to accomplish today. What you don't want to do is jump into email mode. I always say your inbox is a massive basket of other people's agendas. Every single time you check your inbox, you get bombarded by all these things that demand your attention and distract you from what you were doing. This is why you don't want to check your email 10 times a day, and you don't want to check your social media 10 times a day either, since it's very easy to screen suck all day and run your entire day checking messages constantly. But I want you to take a step back and be honest with yourself. Do you really need to do that? The metaphor I've heard before and I love goes a bit like this. Would you go and check your mailbox 10 times a day? Probably not. Then why would you go and check your inbox 10 times a day? One of the things I do is block out the time for social media and I block out the time for email. I have a start and an end time. I don't go and check social media 10 times a day because I've got more important things to accomplish. So, now you do the same. Block a time and say, okay, I'm going to check my social media and email a certain number of times and then no more. Then you can work on important things. For example, you work on projects, your business, your career, or whatever it is that you are working on. And that's how you stay focused. You see, time management is actually a myth because you can't manage time. You and I will always have 24 hours a day. You cannot make them go faster or slower, and we cannot create more time. All we can do is manage our priorities. So when someone tells me, oh, I don't have time, what they're actually saying is, this is not important for me. That's what they're really saying. Well, I don't have time to exercise. What that actually means is, exercise is not that important to me. That's the truth. So, time management is actually priority management. And at the end of the day, priority management is self-management. How do you manage yourself? And how do you manage your energy? What do you invest your time into? Is it something that would contribute to your happiness, to your health, to your well-being, or to your success? If it ticks any of those criteria, then you should prioritize that instead of some silly drama on social media or email. Number 2, know your magic number. This is your magic number. Let's say your financial goal is to make $100,000 a year. Now, that's a 6-figure income. Wouldn't you agree that's a pretty good income for most people? And let's say on average you work 40 hours a week and you have 25 weeks a year. Also, let's say you take 2 weeks off. Now you have 50 weeks a year. So 50 weeks times 40 hours, that's 2,000 hours. So take your annual income, gold, $100,000, then divide that by 2,000. What do you get? $50 per hour. So that means if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, your hourly rate needs to be at a minimum of $50 an hour. Now, here's the key. Look at everything you do every single day and ask yourself this question. Is what I'm doing worth $50 an hour? If what you're doing is not worth $50 an hour, that means for every single hour that you're working, you need to be at least making $50 an hour. That's the bare minimum of the value that you need to create for every hour that you put in. If what you're doing is not worth $50 an hour, how on earth are you ever going to get $100,000 a year? It's a cause and effect. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments below. And now let's say your goal is $100,000 a year. What does that mean? It means every single hour you work needs to be at the bare minimum of $500 an hour. The number is actually higher than that because if you and I are honest, you know you're not productive all the time. Not every single hour we're going to hit $500 per hour in terms of bringing value to the marketplace. To make $1 million a year, you need $500 per hour value. So think about that. Number 3, avoid minimum wage activities. Let's say you get your car repaired and the mechanic says it will be worth $200 for the repair, and you get annoyed and you argue with him for that 1 hour, and in the end the mechanic gets frustrated and puts it down to $150 so you can leave. So here's a question. Did you say $50? Not really. Not if your goal is to make $1 million a year, because that argument with that mechanic just cost you $350. So I want you to imagine this. Here's a bonfire, and just keep throwing money into it until you reach $350. Now, if you look at it that way, every single minute you have is an investment. If you're investing the time to spend with your family, that's fine. You're getting happiness and fulfillment as a return. But if you're talking about a business activity, there has to be a return. You're spending this much time, you want this much back. At the end of the day, it's incredibly simple. Money is just math. You invest X, you get Y back. Now, that's an investor mentality. The problem is, when it comes to time, most people have the wasters mentality. They waste time, or spenders, they just spend time. There's a quote that goes a bit like this. An inch of time is worth an inch of gold, but you can't buy that inch of time with an inch of gold. So, choose wisely how you want to invest your time, because at the end of the day, your life is nothing more than a reflection of how well you invest your time. I hope you enjoyed this blog post and it gave you some insights on the next steps you need to take in your life to grow and succeed as an entrepreneur. If you would like the shortcut to your business and personal life success, then today I would love to invite you to a video that Adam and Justin made for you that will reveal the 0 to hero blueprint to becoming a winning entrepreneur. So, what you are going to get is, number 1, 30-day guarantee. Number 2, works for anyone, anytime, anywhere. Number 3, I will reveal my $460 per sale blueprint to you. Number 4, newbie friendly method. Number 5, how to thrive even more during recession times by knowing a simple 3-part concept. And last but not least, many more tips, tricks and techniques that you will love. When are things going to change if you're always on the fence? Come on, I beg of you to take the leap of faith in the right direction and click the video or link below. Or in the description, since it will be there too. Start becoming financially free now and avoid living paycheck to paycheck, being overworked, underpaid and underappreciated. The link will be in the description below. Once again, thank you for reading, and remember, greatness is within. Bye then to go. Bye everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, link in description, and I'll see you next time.